Welcome to our channel. We are Rose
and Carsten.
traveling with our caravan overland around the world.
To follow our adventures, subscribe to the channel. It's free and it would help us.
Thanks, Rose.
And Carsten.
Rose here. We recently released a video about shipping our vehicles to Australia. You see, this is our car, this is our caravan. They're registered in New Zealand. We have them now in Australia. And we had a lot of questions, so we thought we will try and answer your questions in this video. We're going to share a lot of information, so excuse the notes. They say it's very difficult to ship to Australia, and if you could ship here, you could maybe ship anywhere. And so we will cover in this video the documents you need, some considerations for choosing a shipping agent, what is the best port in Australia or the options for different ports, the methods to ship vehicles. We will look at our costs, and costs of course will always change depending on demand and many factors. We will look at the risks of shipping a vehicle. We will cover some of the things you need to do, like insurance and registration. And I hope we can answer your questions. If not, please do send us a comment and we'll try our best to get back to you and answer your questions. Thank you. If you want to import your vehicle temporarily to another country, you will need a carnet de passage. It's internationally recognised and it's considered to be like a visa or passport for your vehicles. This can be issued by the automobile club of your country. In New Zealand it's the AA, in Australia it's the AAA, and there are similar clubs around the world. Usually it will take you around 3 weeks to get a carnet, but you should check with your individual issuer. For the carnet to be issued, you will need your passport identification. You will need the registration of the vehicles and the name of the person, the same as the passport. You will need a valuation of your vehicle, and you will need up-to-date pictures of your vehicle. The cost of the carnet depends on the country where it's being issued. There will be a fee for the administrative side of things. Then the other thing that is, I think, common in all countries is a bond will be required. In New Zealand, it I think is a percentage of the value of the car. For example, for our car, I think it was $5,000 a vehicle. And we've heard in Australia it's a nominal fee of $500. In other countries it may be more. So the bond is held by the Automobile Association, and when you return your car you get the bond back. So this money is held for you. No interest, unfortunately, as far as we know. The carnet is valid for 1 year and it can be extended. In that case the bond would be rolled over, and the main thing with the carnet is you can't, when you take the vehicle into the other country, it keeps the original registration from the home country, and also you can't sell the vehicle. If anything happens to the vehicle and it's permanently lost or damaged through an accident or a theft, then you need to get a police report, and then you can take that back.
I'd like to say one thing.
Oh, he needs
I'd
to
like
say
to say
something.
one thing, yes.
He's jumping in.
This is a temporary import permit. So
Temporary.
It's really, you don't need to pay any GST or taxes in the country where you will import the country. So this carnet is a temporary import permit. No GST or tax is requested to bring the car into a foreign country. That's the sweet thing with the carnet.
Yes.
A lot of people have asked us about that.
Yes. If you want to permanently import your vehicle, your shipping agent can advise you of the most relevant details, or the country's Department of Transportation will cover that on their website. So we hope that's helpful regarding the documentation. Next we'll move to
shipping agents. You need basically 2 shipping agents, one in your country where you're starting, like for us it was in New Zealand, and then you need another shipping agent in the country where you will ship the car into. normally the shipping agent in your, let us say, home country will arrange the corresponding shipping agent in the country where you are going to. How to select a shipping agent? It's like every kind of service. We got a couple of offers, we was googling a little bit around, and the price variation was different, but we have selected one agent which was helping us most with the batteries in our setup, because after recent incidents with lithium batteries and electrical vehicles burning a ship down somewhere, the shipping lines are not really happy to transport something which has lithium batteries in, and our caravan has actually 4 lithium batteries. And we had a lot of discussion with our shipping agents about that, and finally we were saying our caravan was coming a couple of months ago from Australia to New Zealand on a ship with the batteries. Why we can't bring it from the other way around? And that was actually breaking this up, and he was saying, yeah, okay, we will find a shipping line. So it is good to have a good shipping agent. The cost connected to the shipping agent, he is taking a fee, and the most of the costs are for the shipping line. We will come back to that later when we are explaining the costs. So the shipping agent is actually doing all the paperwork. He will arrange the import permits, he will arrange the documentations which is needed for importing the car to another country. He will arrange the transport into the port, because most of the ports around the world are no-go zones for normal people. So you need someone which has a permit to go into the port. In our case, we have just dropped the car on the port gate and someone was driving it in. It was arranged, of course, over the shipping agent. And the same procedure when you're receiving the car in the country where you ship to. You need someone which is receiving the car, doing the paperwork, has the permits to go into the port and get the car or the vehicle out of the port. So that's the job of the shipping agent.
I'm here just going to cover the costs and methods of shipping. So there are different methods of shipping. People normally think about shipping, they think about containers, and that is an option if depending on your vehicle. For us, look at these beasts, they're really big. We couldn't fit in a container. The next option is a flatbed container, which is like an open container which the vehicle gets lifted on, and then it's on an area of the boat where there is more space. So that's a flatbed container. But we went for roll on, roll off, which is how new cars arrive in countries normally. So they are driven onto the boat and then they're driven off the boat. And roll on, roll off was the winner for us. Actually, container shipping is normally a bit more expensive than roll on, roll off. Roll on, roll off can have a much quicker turnaround. For us, it was the winner because roll on, roll off was there was a schedule and it was only going to be 5 days to Australia, and we got our car in just over 2 weeks. With containers, we've heard can take a month to 6 weeks or longer, depending on so many factors. So those are the shipping methods, and then the costs. Vary.
The cost was for both vehicles $12,000.
Yeah, the costs vary depending on shipping line at the time, demands, boat availability. So there are so many things that will influence the cost, size of the vehicle, weight of the vehicles. So it's all calculated actually based on the weight and dimensions of the vehicles. So yes, we might have had to pay a bit more because of the dimensions of our vehicles. If you're just shipping a smaller car, it will cost less. So these are considerations when you think about costs. And our costs are for May 2024, and you should get a more updated cost from whatever shipping agent you choose to go with.
The cost depends on the global situation as well. If there's a shortage of container or shipping line or something like this incident in Baltimore or the incident in the Suez Canal, it will drive the shipping cost crazy up. And that's why you have to look into that and get
it changes like this.
Yes, changes like that.
The prices just change. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds very expensive, but if you're considering like you come to, for example, you come to New Zealand and renting a motorhome for $300 per day, or even if it's something more luxurious like our trailer, our caravan, it can go up to $500 per day, and you're planning to stay a couple of months, it makes sense to ship it.
And also, there's a lot of involved with buying and selling a vehicle each time that you go to a country.
Yes.
So, that wasn't an option for us, but it might be an option for you.
And as we are planning to go around the world, we cannot buy in each country a new car and a new caravan. So it makes for us sense to ship it from place to place. Our next shipment is supposed to be from Australia to Asia.
Yes, and then no shipment for a long time because we have a lot of driving to get to Europe.
Insurance for the shipment. It is basically up to you if you like to insure it during the shipment. We couldn't believe it. We thought automatically somehow the shipping lines having a kind of insurance in the case that something is lost. But we have recently shipped our personal belongings from Saudi Arabia to New Zealand, and our container had a heavily damage, and the insurance was not really covering. It was miserable. So we took care about the insurance. We got an offer from our shipping agent, and then he was asking, hey, it's a lot of money which you are asking for. The first offer was $5,000. We was then trying to find the independent insurance. It is very difficult in New Zealand. So we was going back to our shipping agent and negotiating with him, and finally we got it insured for a total cost of $2,500. And we are happy for that. It sounds crazy for a 4 or 5 days shipment from New Zealand to Australia, but in the case that something is really seriously happened, and it can be, we thought it's better to have a full insurance cover. Risk. We like to talk about the risk connected with a shipment, international shipment. The problem is, if you're going on, roll off for shipment, someone has access to the car, and we have heard that something can be stolen out of the car. Our shipping agent was saying to us, the car is a risk, but the caravan not, because everything is locked. But we have learned it on the hard way, it wasn't locked at all. However, if you ship in a container, basically it's the safest way to ship, because someone is basically yourself bringing the car into the container. You will secure it in the container. The container will be locked under your eyes, and after that only the customs in the shipping country, also the country where you're shipping to, will open the container. Basically that's the safest way. Roll on, roll off can be unsafe. There is a risk that something has been stolen or can be stolen. We got something nipped off of our caravan. We was not expecting that, but we was fully aware there's a risk. So one of the big questions is which port in Australia to choose for the shipment. It depends a little bit where you're coming from. If you come from Asia, most likely Fremantle. If you are planning to ship from New Zealand, then it would be Brisbane. However, we have asked our shipping agent where you can expect less problems with the shipments and the biosecurity. There's a kind of ranking, and he was saying based on his experience, Brisbane has less problems than Melbourne to ship, so we choose Brisbane. It really depends on where you come from and what is the situation where you like to go. We go going from Brisbane up north. If you ship on a different part of the season, maybe you're going south from Brisbane, or the same like for Fremantle. But we have heard Melbourne shouldn't be a port to ship in an overland or a vehicle, because
it's very difficult.
It's very, very difficult in Melbourne. Basically, we have heard 100% failure rate. Preparation. So the preparation, as we were saying on the beginning, Australia is one of the countries with the toughest customs and biosecurity to ship something in. The car and the vehicle, the vehicles actually need to be spotless clean. So we was taking a professional cleaner to clean the car and to clean the caravan, and even after the professional cleaner was done with the job, we did it, the final touch up. So we have seen there are some leaves on the roof, we have seen there's still some dust and dirt underneath the wheel arches. So we was doing a final check at home one day before we was bringing everything to the port, and it's a big job to ship it to Australia. However, we can say the first impression is it's making the thing happen there. So we have heard when we got our stuff back in Australia, they have just opened the caravan, it was spotless clean, and they were saying, fine. We have heard they have just checked one time under the wheel arches, it was spotless clean. So the whole procedure there to get it out of biosecurity in Australia was just 5 days. Yeah, and the 5-minute job to check it.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of work connected, especially to Australia, that need to be spotless clean. There's supposed to be no dirt, no leaves, no seeds, no food, no liquids, and no animals. For the car, you have to remove the liquid from the wiper washing reservoir. This needs to be out. The radiator fluid still can be in because the car needs to be driven off the ship and to the ship and is moved maybe in the port around. So there's nothing to do with it. But I can repeat, it has to be really, really clean.
And the reason for that is
the target is to get it so clean that you do not have any problems with the biosecurity in Australia, or we have heard the same from New Zealand. If it is not clean, if it is failing the tests there, the inspections there, they will clean it on your cost, which is not really a big thing, this cost, you can bear that. The problem is, in Australia, it will go into a storage facility in a very secured area, and then it has to sit and wait there that someone is going to clean it, and every day will cost, we have heard, $100 in the storage facility, and it can take up to 4 to 6 weeks. So if you are not passing this inspection there, you have really a problem. Also better is to focus cleaning before you go for shipment than to fail the inspection in the country where you will ship. And I guess a lot of countries having similar inspection procedures, but Australia and New Zealand are basically the hardest one in the world. Friends saying, if you can ship to Australia, you can ship anywhere around the world. We hope so. We have it done.
what about on road?
Okay, the last thing what we like to cover is how to bring it back onto the road in Australia. There are different procedures in Australia, actually 2 different procedures. One is for Queensland. Queensland is special procedures compared to the rest of the country. In Queensland, you need just the CTP, it's a kind of insurance, which is mandatory everywhere in Australia. In Queensland, you need just this insurance, which costs $363 per year, and after that, you are good to go. In other states in Australia, you have to go to a so-called motor registration office. You have to show your carnet de passage, and you need to do, before you go into these offices, you need to do a short safety check, which is a very simple thing. It's just any mechanic can do it. They are just checking there the main function of the car, that the brakes are working, that the lights are working, that the steering wheel is working. That's basically all. Nothing really serious. It's not like a WOF or TOV or whatsoever. It's just a basic check that the car is roadworthy. So if you get this paper, which costs, we have heard, $90, then you go to the motor registration office and they will register your car, but they will not change the plate number. It is not allowed to change the plate numbers when you are importing on the carnet de passage. So somehow they're putting it in the system that they can give you a fine that your plate number from your home country is somehow connected, that they can find you in the system. I guess that's the purpose of this registration thing. So that's basically all, and then you are good to go. That's all. It sounds maybe difficult, but the whole procedure to bring it and to ship it was actually not really difficult. With the shipping agent on your side, getting the carnet de passage, and the rest was just done by these agencies. The procedure for hand over the car in Australia to the seaport, it took 5 minutes. We just drove to the gate, parked it there, calling the shipping agent in New Zealand, dropped the key in the hand of the shipping agent, and that was all. And in Australia, basically the same procedure. we got our papers back, we have checked that the carnet is stamped, and then we was driving to the gate and we got it from there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. We hope we got some information out of this video. If you have still any questions, if you need more information, please, we can try to help you with that. Please contact us. Thank you very much for watching, Rose and Carsten.
Yes, and if you have questions about GST and on-road costs, permanent import and stamp duty to Australia, we're sorry, you'll have to contact your shipping agent who can advise you, or the government website related to it.
Yes.